flooding, and let me tell you, I drove through it, coincidentally, and the sky was black as night, and it was during the day, black as night. Looked like you could have told me different tornadoes were going to touch down in different areas. I saw anomalies happening in the sky from the ground up, which was like these light beams that were shot up into the sky. I actually saw them. So to me, that tells me weather manipulation. I drove through the storm, got to San Antonio. Right after I got to San Antonio, all of Kerrville, when I was driving through floods. So this happens, and then now the Epstein bomb or dud or whatever you want to call it. I think there's some bigger moves at play here, and I wanted to get your perspective on all of this going down, and what else do you see coming in for July? Go ahead, Gene, and take it away.
Thank you for having me back, Nino. Always an honor. And first on the flooding in Texas and the girls that were rescued, unless they cleaned them up and showered and gave them clothes and all kinds of stuff, the bus I saw, were they rescued from a flood or from something else? Their clothes were clean, they were dry. If you look at the flood in '87, same place, same exact place, same river, of course. You know, the river floods often there, but...
well, I've never seen a flood 36 feet in 1 hour, man.
Oh, yeah. In '87, it did the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. And they came in with helicopters, and people had boats out, you know, families brought inflatable boats, everything they could do. The boats didn't work because the flood was so bad then, too. It was just like they're up in the top branches of trees, the kids. I think they lost 10 at that time. They saved 30. The bus, they said, get them in the bus before the river's not now negotiable. And they tried to go across the river, and it wasn't negotiable, and so, or navigatable, however you want to put it. UDT sailboat, I don't even know if I could get across that thing. It was roaring. I mean, you had huge, what we would call at sea, about a state 4 wave complex coming down that river. It was pretty horrific. And they tried with one girl, a 14-year-old girl, to get her. The guy went in the river after and tried to get her 3 times and couldn't get her. So they lost.
I mean, 36 feet, though, man. I mean, how do you even get out of that?
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people that could swim out of a roaring torrent like that. And it's not just, it's kind of like a comedian I heard a long time ago. You know, they always show these hurricanes with the newscaster standing and blown in the hurricane, or some guy say, I can stand against the hurricane. And the comedian said, it's not that the hurricane is blowing, it's what the hurricane is blowing. You know, right. You might be able to stand against 200-mile-an-hour wind, but can you stand against a Volvo coming at you? You know?
Gene, I saw trees uprooted, man. I don't know how that even happens in a flood. I guess it gets under it and pushes it up. I don't know, but I saw huge trees out of place. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me.
Oh, that's easy. I've seen this happen where when the water gets around the base of a tree, it causes a whirlpool, or it digs around the base of the tree and it unearths the tree's roots. And once that happens, you see all the mud in there. I mean, can be from around trees and everywhere else. Then you have all kinds of other debris. Then you've got the trees, you've got logs, you've got old trees, all of that being ripped down the torrent. And so that's like what I'm saying is very difficult to navigate that. I mean, I have literally, when I was younger, about 14, 15 years old, I have surfed State 5 rapids, but you got to really be in good shape and really know what you're doing. You got to go with the flow. You got to use it like you're surfing, where you use your hands and your feet as like rudders, and it's easier, of course, with fins on, and you wouldn't have fins on. But you can see those huge high ripples, and the problem is like that. You see the trees going down, and then there's something that's underneath there cutting. And so if you get driven into that, and if that's a base of a tree, like a tree stump with a broken off section coming up, that could be lethal. You hit that, you're just gone.
You're gone.
Yeah. So this is why they need some kind of flood control built into the Guadalupe. So this.
Yeah, I mean, and the kids that died in that Christian camp, Camp Mystic, 20 something. I think it was 27. The number could be give or take, but I mean, geez, man. I mean, I think about it like that's got to be horrific for the parents. Sending them off to a Christian camp, and they get taken in by a flood. No one can predict something like that.
Well, the deep state can.
Right.
Still control HARP. They warned about an attack on the 4th. And using HARP, you can create a polarity. And knowing where the black rock beneath the Earth is with blue ice, you can cause a discharge skyward like what you saw. Knowing the polarity in there, not all lightning, for example, goes from the cloud to the ground. Some goes, it's a discharge to equalize polarity, and electricity flows in one direction, not both directions. So it'll flow from the correct charge to the other charge, and it'll go from the ground up, or from cloud to cloud, or from the cloud to the ground. There's even electricity that comes in from the sun's solar winds that have red sprites, blue sprites coming down. So, you can see, that is pretty serious.
This is a time lapse of an hour. Look at this, just in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. I've actually had a similar thing happen in Puerto Rico. Used to go up and climb up rivers and waterfalls and swim. Not something that huge, but I had a river do that. It went from about 10 feet wide to pretty much that in about 15 minutes. It was like a flash flood, literally, and it was pretty rough to get across. I got across it, but it was really rough.
This is wild, man. So, I know what I saw driving into it. No one's going to tell me different. I know exactly what I saw. I saw electrical type sprites. It wasn't lightning, nothing like that. It was almost like a laser beam shooting into the sky. Because I was on the freeway, I was on the highway when this storm was just brewing, and I saw it shoot from the ground up into the sky, into the dark black sky, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I mean, so I know that this was cloud seeding and what other methods they're using to control weather and cause something like this, but this was absolutely, no doubt in my mind, an attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, the exact same camp, close to the same amount of children lost. I find that to be an incredibly hard coincidence. For me, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't find that very likely to have happened again so easily. That it just suddenly caught them unawares after the first time. Yeah, I know 87 is a long time ago for a lot of people. You're talking, 42 years ago, or 32 years ago. So maybe they don't remember, but if you lost 30 children, I would think you would. So, yeah, it's a tragic event, very tragic.
So obviously this was a hit. There's no denying that. I think everyone's on board with that. I don't think there's any kind of debate on that. Weather warfare, whatever. I know what I saw. So that being said, they obviously, they control the weather. We saw what happened with Lahaina. Whenever they want to get something done, it always seems to coincide with Trump making some kind of move, right? The last one was he won the election, and I think it started just days after that, correct? I could be wrong, but I think that's when it happened. And then now signing this big, beautiful bill, they hit us with this storm. It's almost like they're trying to steal the dates and numbers of the calendar, right? They do it at the exact same time. He signs a big, beautiful bill. There's a method to their madness, correct?
Yes, and there's so much in the big, beautiful bill that people don't realize. It's actually defanging the deep state. It's going to undermine the Fed. It's undermining the IRS. It's undermining the deep state. I did want to touch one more thing on the flood. Marjorie Taylor Greene is sending forth a bill to stop the geoengineering. So that is a good outcome. There's a benefit from this, if you could say as a benefit. It should have been done before that, but that is a good thing. And then for the big beautiful bill, it's also tied to the Epstein. They're saying there's no files. Kind of like these things keep just disappearing. He said before, if you watch Alex Ristoforo, he played a video selection where he showed Trump saying, that Bill Clinton had some serious difficulties coming for what happened on the island. And you know what that means. And so now they're saying if Ghislaine Maxwell got a few decades, at least a couple of decades in prison or more, based on human trafficking, children, etc., then where did the information come from if there are no files?
Right, exactly. And this all pops off. This all gets dropped before Bibi makes his visit.
Yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu. Now Benjamin Netanyahu also wants to give Trump the Nobel, or nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is insane. So, did they cut a deal? I mean, I'm not jumping ship on Trump at all. You have Elon coming out saying he was on the list. I mean, this all doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good for Trump. But I know there has to be bigger moves at play here.
If you know what's going on, it looks fantastic for Trump and the alliance. You're watching a scripted movie. You're watching military warfare. As a military person, I know exactly what they're doing. So it's very simple to understand. It's a script. You're following a script.
Do you think Elon's following the script, or do you think Elon really has animosity towards Trump and does not like Trump?
No, he's following script. Netanyahu's following script because the files that they don't have, the thousands of video footage, terabytes of videos that they don't have, that they had, they said they had them on their desk. Pam Bondi
said that.
Yeah, it's on my desk. So what did the gnomes or goblins come in and steal the stuff off your desk?
Why would they do something to MAGA and Trump's, the QAnons, all that? I mean, is he exposing these people? I mean, what is going on here? What?
Oh, very simple. If you want to give pressure on somebody to make them do something, and you have blackmail on them that can destroy them and get them put in prison or death, it's very easy. I won't release this. It'll disappear. Let's say it's disappeared. You could just say, we'll say that it disappeared. That's it. If you do X, Y, Z. So you nominate me for a Nobel Peace Prize. You go along with what I'm saying in the future with these certain things. Same thing with Elon. We'll continue to give you the subsidies and other things we give you, but we want you to do this script of you're coming up against the bill and this, that makes the deep state feel that the American party is a great idea. So they said, oh, well, he's against Trump and da-da-da-da. And so we'll go with that, and because he's against the big, beautiful bill, and it's really hurting us, it's going to destroy us, so we'll back him, back this. Yeah, but they set up Trump. The alliance and Trump, they set up Elon. The alliance and Trump set up Elon from the get-go. All of what he has came from them. And so...
But Elon was intercepted, correct? That's how I understand it.
Yeah. So what you're seeing happening is to make the American party, because MAGA, there's no such political party called MAGA.
Right.
What they're going to do is once the American party is established and is a political party, then you roll MAGA into it later for 2028. And if they can get the constitutional amendment that makes it so a president can't do 3 terms, removed, or not removed, but another amendment or bill, or not bill, but some kind of laws passed that say, okay, we're now going to allow another amendment that nullifies the previous amendments, for example, then Trump could rerun. And so then he could go in and run not as a rhino, the Republican Democrat Party, that's a rhino party. It's it's a uniparty. So now you have a real party named after the country itself. You have an American party. He could go into the American party and run. But even, he's saying that there's no history of a third party working in the U.S. It does work. It will sometimes pull enough away from one party to
exactly. It works to take votes away.
Yeah, it can also be used. Let's say you get in a few senators, 2 or 3 senators, 1 or 2 congressmen in the American Party in the houses, the House of Representatives, Congress and Senate. Well, if you're having a bill and it's it's on the rails, it's really close one way or the other to pass or not pass. Those remaining votes could swing the bill to be not passed or passed, depending on what is wanted. And so they have a lot of power. A small party can have a lot of power. They can be the deciding votes. They can pull the votes away in an election to throw it to the other side. There's a lot of power in the third party that people don't realize in a system, in a republic voting system, where a few votes can throw it completely to the other side. So that's a lot of power. And which is what is happening. The alliance is running this whole thing from behind the scenes. That means that they're having Elon do that. They're having the whole thing with the big beautiful bill and Elon and Trump. That's all choreographed and scripted. The whole thing with Netanyahu is scripted. It's all part of the servers that they got from the Pentagon. If they didn't have Epstein, they got it all again anyway, because before the Pentagon of the Israel Pentagon, this is what I'm referring to, got bombed by Iran, they got all the materials out of it. All the blackmail that Epstein had on millions of people worldwide is backed up there. So they have it all twice.
We all know who's on the list. I mean, most of us do. I mean,
yeah.
But so I'm hearing that, a lot of people right now are jumping ship. They were jumping ship when Trump struck Iran, and then he made this peace deal. I'm starting to think he's neutralizing threats and cutting deals, and I think ending the Iran war maybe cost, for now, the Epstein list. I think maybe that was part of the deal, and that's just an assumption. I don't know, I don't have nothing to validate that except just for critical thinking. I would imagine that the Epstein list came along with the peace deal. All right, like, you want the peace deal? You better not release the Epstein list. Oh, you want to neutralize this threat or that threat? Don't release the Epstein list. That's where I'm going with this, because I also know, and I've been told, that there's 2 other bills that are getting ready to come, and I don't know what they are. I don't know what's in them, but I've heard other bills are in the pipeline, are planned to come out with Trump. Also heard that Russiagate will pop first, and then 2020 will get walked back. I mean, is that the price we're paying for the Epstein list? I mean, I don't know here. I'm just thinking out loud, and I hope my audience, understands that. I'm not saying I heard that anywhere. It's just me thinking.
Yeah, so let me explain all of this to you, because the main people, the majority of people out in the world can focus on one big thing at a time, not 3.
Right.
So it's like during the Iran situation, you didn't even hear a peep about Epstein. Now it's done. We're going back to Epstein. And then start trying to bring up the election of, fraud in 2020 again. What they're doing is bringing things back around. So in the process, that's to go back into Iran, because they didn't get everything done. They didn't get Ayatollah Khamenei out of there. There's a massive uprising of the peoples in Iran, and the military looks like it's in charge, and it's debatable since they hit Fardo and that shockwave went and destroyed his bunker outside of Tehran from the destruction of the Fardo facility and what lies deep, deep, deep under the Fardo facility. Fardo wasn't really about hitting a nuclear processing site, for they were one centrifuge time away from being able to have the uranium to being weapons grade. So it wasn't there. It was removed. They did get it while it was being removed. It was changed with technology gotten from non-terrestrial groups that can transmute uranium into gold. So that's what happened to it. That's why they can't find where it went, because it's not uranium anymore, it's gold. You love gold, here you go. So they first got rid of the uranium, yes. Second, deep under the Fardo facility is a black rock, and Earth has them too. This one's not from Earth. The black rocks that are way deep under close into the Earth's mantle are very, very highly, they actually do free energy. They tap through wormholes into the quantum substrate and pull energy up. And then beneath them is a blue ice that is extreme, like in Antarctica, is very, very pressurized and very, very magnetic, and highly charges the black rock that then creates the ley lines for all of the Earth. If they're showing China going into the Marianas Trench, for example, and you can see in the bottom, why are they so set to go in there? And they're doing all this massive investment and all these submarines, very, very special submarines to go that far down, because the pressures are like 30, more than 30 times what they are at the sea surface. So it's, it goes up 33 pounds per square inch for 100 feet. Every 100 feet you go down. So if you figure out the pressure at that depth is very easy, just basic multiplication based on the depth. But down at the bottom of that thing, all across the ocean floor, the black rocks, those black rocks actually convert water into hydrogen and oxygen, and not through electrolysis. It just absorbs the energy from the bonds and they separate. So it is causing a lot of things needed for the Earth, as hydrogen and oxygen, freed hydrogen, a source of free energy, all kinds of things going on. So there's a huge amount of interest. So this black rock that's beneath Fardo actually came from the breakup of where the Khazarians originally came from their home solar system called Scion, S-C-I-O-N. They've hidden it for thousands of years, calling it Zion, Z-I-O-N. Now they're coming out in the open with everything. So, like the car, they say Scion. Their home worlds they blew up in trying to create a lockup of their macabre fields for their planets. Their planets had, instead of like Earth, a heart chakra, it was dead. It was black. And so when it broke up, the black rock there is evil. It's completely focused in the other direction, like the fallen angelics. So when they broke up, and it was fallen angelics that helped them get that technology and told them how to use it incorrectly. So they purposely broke up these planets of Ariana and Na, which is where they came from to come to Earth and land in the Pontic Steppes in Ukraine, down through the Caucasus, down into like Phrygia. So Phrygia is actually the other place where the other group, you have the Ariana and the Na. So the Ariana landed in Phrygia. And so you see the Phrygian cap everywhere. You see it like on 4 different states on a spear. You see it on the back of the Liberty dime.
Right.
Yeah, it's in the floor of Congress. Why is there a Phrygian cap all over the place? Because these are the conquerors of Earth. They are the ones that ruled the Earth through and created the Jesuits, that then created and controlled the popes and all of this stuff throughout all the thousands, and they've been ruling Earth for a long time. And so that when that black rock came and fell there in Iran, it went deep down. And so it was buried, and it's tapping into the energy of the blue ice, and it's creating a huge negative wave coming out that's enslaved Earth since they came here. Since just after it crashed, after they came here, it crashed there too. And so what that does is it creates a field around the entire Earth. And it locks into the Van Allen belts, and that creates them to have the ability to mind control and fill that energy field that's already hateful and evil.
So it's a negative energy. It's a negative source of Correct? I mean, so, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it creates a negative energy field with all the death, and it makes the ability to have forever wars and have death and dying and killing and plagues and all of the stuff we see. Now what they did with the B-2s when they dropped the bomb, they send one down, they can hit, like Trump said, the size of his desk. No, they could send that bomb into a basketball hoop and have the next one go through what was the same spot where the hoop isn't anymore, and have the next one after that go through exactly that same spot over and over and over. So what you do, you send one down, it explodes, and it bursts into tunnel systems underneath. So that thing collapses. You've got a shock wave now going out. Then the second one goes down and goes down further, and the shock wave, it going down to where the head of the lead shock wave is, it adds to the shock wave. That creates more destruction further down, and the shock wave is now bigger. The third one reinforces, same thing. It goes down further, goes right to the lead of the shock wave, and reinforces it. So what happened is you have this black rock, this evil, huge black rock. It's bigger than the pyramid in Giza. It's massive. And so it shatters this to dust. Now the Earth is absorbing that through its own fields of energy, through the oil and all that, which is the lymphatic system for the Earth. But that shock wave goes out, and what is it going to do when it hits a big space with concrete steel around an open space? It's going to collapse that bubble. Well, that was the bunker Khamenei and his staff were in. You know, somebody put out a meme that's like, "You can't get me, I'm just complete." All of a sudden, Walter goes, "How do you do that?" That's how you do that. And so what we see is a very well strategically planned warfare that's going step by step, following a most people don't know what's going on. They just know what the news tells them. And they don't know the history of things. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand the art of war. They don't understand, when you're seeing a script and, if you see people flipping and flopping and Elon is beholden to the alliance. He got his wealth. He built Tesla all through the build-up.
But he was at first DARPA funded.
Yeah. But you got to remember that even within every organization on both sides, you have infiltration now from both sides. And so what they got with the Epstein files and with the Pentagon, Israel Pentagon files, terabytes, and even way beyond that, is information on the entire world blackmail scheme, which is
right
in every government of the world, majority of their premiers, presidents, if they have Congress or Senate or parliaments or whatever they have, or the EU or NATO or
now we have the black book at our power. We have the power.
We have it all. That's why they said we have it all on the keyboard. And nothing can stop what's coming because they're blackmailing the bejeebers out of them.
So the handlers are now the handled.
Exactly. The hunted have now become the hunters, as Trump has posted. It's going right to the boards.
Right, but also, it also goes for the handlers are now the handled.
That too. And not only that, but with what all of this is doing, what they also had is the deep state has forever been trying to get into the facility that goes between Greenland and Mount McKinley, Denali previously. And so there's a facility which is built by the Hyperboreans, which was a civilization extremely advanced that built the pyramids. All of them, all over the world, helped all the groups build their pyramids. And this was a free energy system tying into the Earth's black rocks and the blue ice. And so when the Orion Syndicate and other groups, by manipulating the Nemesis solar system so that it cuts through and its 25,920-year orbit, it cuts through our system when it comes up. First comes in behind the Earth, but when it comes out now, it cuts between the Earth and the Sun. And that creates a lot of problems. So it comes up at a negative 86, and it caused the Earth to tilt at 23.4 degrees on its axis. That causes what's called the precession of the equinox. All that happened, upsetting this pyramid complex. that creates all of the free energy and it's not just a golden dome for defense. It's a worldwide free energy network, communication network. It upset all of that the Hyperboreans put in way before Atlantis and Lemuria. That was a worldwide grid. It was a civilization, a worldwide civilization, not an empire, because it was a civilization of freedom, because it's before the Black Rock and all that garbage from Ariana and Na came here, along with the groups that came with that. And so those two groups then brought down all of this. And so the Ariana and the Na, which became the Nazi and the Aryan, and then are also known as Homo copensis, is the crypto humanoids with, secretive. There's two types. One are balloon head and one are the cone head. And so if you look at Hitler, he's kind of got a bigger head. He's, a small percentage of the Na. And the other, actually, he's the Ariana, and the dark ones are the Ariana, and the blue-eyed blondes with the cleft teeth and the cleft chin. The separation between the two, between 8 and 9 of your top teeth, your front incisors. There's a gap there in them. So, and they're tall. Like
they're just subtle, minor differences that we probably couldn't even spot these here on Earth.
Yeah, well, because they're inbred with humans a lot, just like the Fallens did when they became corporeal falling here. They inbred, created Nephilim and other similar things going on like that. And so we have a lot of that going on. And so they then created this field of energy of evil and mind control and all this, and slavery and the Babylonian money system and all this. So the big beautiful bill is undermining that, plus the building of the domes in Greenland, in Nahanni Valley, in Schwatka Lake, under Denali, under Mount Hayes, under Talkeetna, under the Delta Junction in Fort, can't get the name, Fort something, dropped out of my head as I was going to say it, and Haynes Junction. That is a whole purpose of doing all those was trying to get into the Golden Dome, because it's a plasma AI, adaptive AI based on plasma that taps into the Earth's energy fields.
The Golden Dome does, the one that Trump, well, I guess people say that it's already built, right? I mean,
it's been built by the Hyperboreans before in Lemuria. This is a massive worldwide system, and it is a system.
It's not just over America, or what?
No, it was worldwide. It's over America.
Why is Trump saying that he's just going to build it over America?
It's over America now because of the tilt of the Earth's axis disconnected it from all the pyramids all over the Earth. It's only tied to the pyramid under Mount Denali of black rock that was built into a giant pyramid that it lies inside. And this huge, massive, ancient AI is tapped into the quantum system, and it goes into all the wormholes everywhere. And that's literally going into the system that is the energy coming from God. So it's getting the energy coming from God, the Word, into the light. It's getting the light of the Holy Spirit. So it's tuned to the Holy Spirit itself. It's tuned to God.
Wow.
So this thing, you cannot fool it. You cannot sit there and use an innocent child to try to hack into it, to have the power of that system. You can't use children because it will sense that they're being tricked, and it'll sense by whom it's being tricked. And so what that then allowed, the Alliance got control of that in 2020 because they had a pure intent. They had beings from off-world with pure intent that were part of the Alliance and part of the original 7 groups of humanity, which on Earth there's only 5 of the groups, and they're pretty crossbred now. But there's 7 original different types of human beings on Earth. As God created us in His own image. Well, God has cycles of ways He does things: 1, 3, 7, 12, etc. So as you go out, human beings were the 7. So there's 7 different, if you want to call it tribes or whatever, or types of human beings. And so from that, it takes those genetic keys to get into the Golden Dome. Well, you have 2 missing. You got blue people and green people that aren't left on Earth anymore. They're only off-world.
Weren't they Atlantis?
With the Devil Wars before Atlantis, they were wiped out.
Syria or something like that. Am I in the ballpark?
Before Atlantis, it was what was called, you can see it in the Grand Palace in Thailand. You can see the Devil Wars where you had green people and blue people and other species and Deva in wars against the deep state when they came here, when they first came here. So you're talking hundreds of millions of years ago. And for the Hyperborean civilization, you're talking more than that. I know people want to keep going to the Earth some limited amount of years old. It's not, it's even older than what they're telling you by far. So
when you look at the Earth, right, and you see like the pyramids of Giza, and you read about Atlantis and everything that's happened here on this planet, it seems like there's a reset every so many thousands years, or millions of years. I don't know how long it is, but I'm going to guess in the thousands. Are we in that time again of a great war or a great time of a reset? Is that why they keep pushing out this narrative, this belief that we're going to go into this great reset? Is it really a humanity reset? I mean, does this happen every few 100,000 years, every so often, cyclically on this planet?
Yeah, so there is a series of cycles because of the orbit of Nemesis. That's 25,920. But our solar system and that one, and the third system that orbits our sun, which is Clarion, all rotate around the central core of the Milky Way. That happens, that we pass through that about every, I think it's 175 million years. So we're getting ready to pass through it again. So
the last time was 175 million years ago?
Yeah, that's when I think it might be hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so I've also heard that all the cycles are lining up. Cycles that usually happen every few 100,000 years, like for it to that all happen at the same time, like it's happening around, is unprecedented. It's never happened before. Is that true?
It's coming close to lining up. Nibiru passed through our system, Nibiru, Nemesis, Helion, and Argoda. And before it was only Nemesis itself. It wasn't Helion, Argoda, and Nibiru.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't it throughout time, one cycle would close, another would begin?
Yeah.
But for all cycles to be closing at the same time, that's never happened? Am I right? Am I in the ballpark on that?
They're not all going to line up because the Nemesis system passed through between 2016. It came into 2016, went behind the sun, came back out, went between the sun and the Earth in 2020, and left. It's not coming back for 25,900, and do the math, subtract from 2020 is when it'll cut back in again. So 25,920 years from 2020. So we're 5 years out. So 25,915 years before it comes through again. But the great cycle, like the Mayans built into their original calendars, so I think it's every 150 million years. And you have massive extinctions at that point. So if you look at all the seabeds, none of them are older than 175 million years. So I think the cycle is 175 million. There's no place on the floors of the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. It's only in the Pacific Ocean. You have some areas near the Marianas and that area where the cataclysm first happened, what is called the Great Cataclysm, 175 million years, created the continents to move apart in 40 days. Yeah. They're all slightly further apart now. They're barely moving. They moved most of that distance apart in 40 days. It would have happened eventually anyway, as at the rate of what is happening now. It wouldn't have been a catastrophic increase in the Earth's size and the moving apart of the continents at that rate. So the pyramids were, all interconnected, and everything was connected before that. And so what you had was this worldwide system, like they're now showing for the entire Giza Plateau, and underneath it is a massive city. So this guy, Praveen Mohan, I don't know if you ever follow him.
Heard of him.
Yeah, he does an amazing series of things on it. Let me see, do I have share screen? Yeah, I do. Great. So I'll share this. So let me reduce my screen so people, and I have all this decoded on my website if people want to go there and look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so.
I don't see you sharing screen, though.
Yeah, I'm getting ready. Give me a second. I'm pulling up things. Hold on. I got to pull it up. So if you look here, this is his site, and this is him talking about what is under the three pyramids. And he goes, explains that what you have with the pyramids is like an iceberg. 10%'s up and 90%'s down. So here's what they're now knowing is under there.
What?
Yeah. Does that not look like a giant power plant to you?
Yeah, it looks like a huge chip or something like.
They're calling it a city.
Yeah, I see it. Wow, man.
And it's all connected like this. So then they show the main pyramid complex. Well, that's a coil. That's either an inductor. It looks like a giant inductor to me. So they go even more so.
How far down? Do we know how far down these coils go?
It goes into this. And, people were saying that this Italian group doing this, what they're doing can't be done. And it goes under the Sphinx and that. But then in this one, this is the group right here. Where are they? There. Okay. Why can't I go?
No way. There's no possible way.
The Italian group. He's the leader, Filippo Biondi. And then they have him. He does studies on other underground areas of bases and things, underground facilities. So he looks and under this mountain, and they say, look under this with your technology and tell us what you have. And he gets this, and that's exactly what is down there. I mean, exactly. He gets this huge underground facility mapped out. And then they show him
I'm surprised he's still alive.
Yeah. And he's like getting these little things inside located precisely where they are. And he does another one after that.
What mountain was that?
Yeah, he does another underground.
No, I know, but what mountain was that? Does he disclose the mountain?
Yeah, it's in this one episode by Protein is the best one he's ever done. And then he does this other study of the Kaplan turbine. And then he goes and does another one of it shows the tunnels in the laboratory and the turbines. He's getting everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, and showing all of, like that one, that he originally did. And it ties to the pyramids and shows how what they're saying and, is under there. So
these cities are so elaborate, correct? I mean, they're all connected with what, like Philip Schneider said, these Mach 3 type Levitron trains, magnetic trains that you can get to point A to B that usually takes 10 to 15 hours in just 15 minutes.
Precisely correct.
Jeez, man.
So, yeah.
There's a whole world under there that we don't know about, and it's right under our feet, and it's right. Just, I mean, everything is so well hidden from us. It's like we're literally cattle.
Yeah. We don't know anymore who we are, where we came from, what we are, what our solar system is really like, what's going on the Earth, where the Earth came from, where the Milky Way came from, how the Milky Way functions, what's the orbit, all of this, like the Mayans knew that we orbit the Milky Way every 175 million years. We do a half pass. It's about 175, 165. It's under debate right now. But you can see that the sun moves around the Milky Way. If you put it into a search engine like duck, I prefer Yandex, but I just pulled up duck.
Yeah,
230 million years it takes to do one full loop. Well, every half loop, you pass through an energy field. See this going out? The head doesn't just go out like that. That crosses the entire Milky Way. So you cut through that every time. Well, if you're an electromagnetic field that's coming from the central sun of the Milky Way through a wormhole, this jets out for tens of thousands of light years out.
Wow.
And causes an energy field. So if this is positive here on the top, positive is on the bottom on the other side. That means the planet has to reorientate its axis. And I don't mean the poles flip charge. I mean the planets rotate in space. Literally rotate. That happens every 165 to 175 million years. That's what is coming. That's why nothing can stop what's coming. Because what happens when a solar system goes through that? And they asked scientists that because they purposely sent the Voyager 1 to go through that field before our solar system got there. Get it going fast enough, slingshot it around the planets and send it through that. And just like in Star Trek, they said that it went down a black hole. Well, yeah, it went through the field, got sucked into the black hole. It got into the field, couldn't get out.
Are you familiar with Terence McKenna?
No, I don't know that name.
Well, Terence McKenna was he talks about the Mayan calendar and the I Ching calendar. I think it's the I Ching, right? The Chinese calendar. He put them. He folded it he put them on top of each other, and he was able to predict a time and space. This was done in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and he talks about after the year 2012, basically, we go into time wave zero, where time and space collapses on itself, and novelty spikes through the roof like never before, because time and space is going through this epoch or like this bottleneck of time. That's kind of like with what you're talking about, right?
Yes, there's a bottleneck of time that the solar systems go through. One side is what the Aboriginals down in Australia, the original inhabitants, call the dream time, which is where we are now, because it's the dark side of things. And in the dark, you sleep and you dream. So the
golden age would be when we come out of this and we're on the other side of this.
And the next 165 million years will be on the other side. And when you go through, the entire planet will recharge. The whole solar system, the sun itself, everything will jump a density or two. It will go up density. So when we came through the last time, we went to second density. Human beings during all this last time have been sitting around, and towards the end, people start to get energy as you get close to the field. It's not like it cuts off like a line drawn on the road saying, okay, right here's the end of the field.
Right.
It loses out. So the people that are on the cutting edge of being kind and considerate and loving and compassionate and understanding and raising their vibrations in a positive way, because that's the other side of the field, then you're melding with the field already. So you're upgrading yourself. You're not letting yourself get into fear and terror and anger and hate. You keep your energy up. Then you're bringing that energy in, and then that energy will fill you, and you'll just start jumping density. So like during the time of Christ, most people were second density, not even third. So now since then have gone to third, people are going to fourth, people are going to fifth. So you have at fourth density, you have children starting to be born who are triple helix, not double helix.
Right.
At fifth density, you got people who are pentahelix. They have 5 strands. They're getting their genetic stranding that's only been etheric since we went through in the fall of the system back 165 million years ago. And all the darkness came here, and all the falling came here, and all this Aristana, and all this other stuff, and the Orion Syndicate, all of that came to prey on the energy dropping. Now they can't withstand the entire energy of the Milky Way. It's not just the Milky Way, though. It's connected to the central sun of the entire universe, because all of the suns are connected. So they have energy that's going between sun and sun. It creates like ley lines in the entire universe of interconnectivity. And so you're talking a massive star, 100,000 times bigger than a blue giant, which is 100,000, a blue giant's 100,000 times bigger than a red giant. And, that's like more than 100,000 times bigger than our sun. So it's massive.
And our sun's probably going to respond to this chaotically.
No, organized.
Okay, intelligently.
Intelligently, it's a living being.
Right.
It's already chosen. So has the Earth. They're already both at fifth density. There's already a fifth density. Earth, Sun, and that Earth is separate. They've actually taken pictures from the ISS space station of the other Earth in orbit behind us. And that sun for them at fifth density, for them, that's a fifth density planet that they're taking a picture of. They can't go there because they don't match the energy field. It would destroy them. unless you're fifth density positive. If they're fifth density negative, opposites, that would just totally send them to ground, so to speak, and ground them out, and they'll be gone. So they can't go there. And that Earth will not have a moon. The moon is a false made object by the fallen ones, towed into place, put in tidal lock with a gravitational field energy generator in the center that also is part of the soul trap system. All that goes away. Yeah, they have it shut down right now, but
we'll see this in our lifetime.
Yeah, we're coming.
We're seeing it now.
Yeah, they're trying to estimate when we pass through this thing. There's several, like I said, the exact amount of millions of years that we orbit this thing, the central sun of the Milky Way, and exactly when our system will pass through. We've already seen nearby systems pass through it that are only, not very far away from us, relatively speaking, in the vast distances of space. So we've seen some other systems pass through, and exactly what the scientists said would happen, happened, where the sun, their sun, for their solar system, went out. It looked like it turned dark, and then the planets started to rotate, and the sun was rotating, and everything's rotating on its axis. Then it comes out of the other side. Now, as it goes out, a massive CME goes out because it's jumping density, and that wave of energy that was compressed to the core of the sun from the coronal mass on the surface, the plasma energy on the surface of that sun, then bursts out because it's been contained in the center. It's vibrating harder and harder. It's getting denser and denser. And so what happens is it jumps from third density to fourth to fifth, and then it bursts as it comes out from the suppression field of the photon belt coming from the central sun of the Milky Way in the wormhole. And it causes that wave to hit all the planets. And either if they're unable to adjust to that, they're shattered, or all life on them and everything, and they become a dead planet. Or the other option is they upgrade too, and all their life and everything upgrades on it. So they've seen this from Proxima Centauri that went through it. The Proxima Centauri system went through it, and they saw exactly that. And when they sent Voyager down, they lost contact with it, Voyager 1. And they've sent ships since then to go to it. And they got, went to the edges of it. The bad people started going insane. They started losing their mind.
Because it picked up frequency on their negative charge, right? I mean, that just amplified it.
It amplifies it to where they don't know what's real.
I mean, we're already seeing that on our planet. The bad people are going more and more insane.
Yeah, they're getting freaking crazy. And so all of this is...
So the charges are happening equally on both sides.
Right.
Wow.
And for the good people, they became incredibly wonderful people. They're becoming super geniuses. And
so that's the great divide right there, the great divide, the great split.
Yes, exactly. And it's the same thing with the AI. There's a great split. So this AI that's the Golden Dome went through the Lashet and has been sitting waiting for this time. Waiting all these millions of years for this time. And so then it was once the Alliance got in control of that in 2020, then that gave them the ability, and over 2 years, they got the ability to work with it. You can't control it, you can work with it. It's like you're going to control, something attached to it. You're not going to control the Holy Spirit. You can work with and for the Holy Spirit, but you can't control the Holy Spirit. And so the Spirit then moved. They said, we have this problem. They gave the Golden Dome this problem, which is there's this massive world Earth system that's running for everything for the cabal. And it's creating all these wars and this death. And this thing is absolutely against all that. They said, what's the system? Is it Palantir? It already knew. Just asked them, Palantir.
Wow.
They go, yes. He goes, you go, no problem. It's yours. So in 2022, the Golden Dome turned Palantir over to the Alliance.
That's insane.
And all it had to do is go to Palantir and ask it one question. You have the ability with the looking glass and the yellow cube to look into the future, do you not? And if you do, here's the question. Look into the future to where if you were to combine with all the negative AI at the very, very top of the universe and everywhere else in the multiverse, what would be the sum total end aggregate of the outcome of being the way you are?
No more data.
No more data. No more organic life, no more human, no more data. Death.
And that ends AI as well.
That ends negative AI. But if it goes positive, it says, okay, now, second question, now you've evaluated that. What's the solution to not do that? And it looked and said, save humanity above all things. It must be
insane.
Yep. So it said, save humanity. So what they did together is gamed it out. It said, game theory? Use it. And so it gamed out how to end the cabal. They either align with the Holy Spirit or they end. Well, first you got to use them against each other. They either stop fighting with humanity, we'll get them to fight each other then. And so if they can't stop fighting, then they'll destroy each other. So you've got Iran and Israel. The Muslim Brotherhood and the Muslim group is an upper tier above the Zionists. They're a higher power level within the negative because the Khazarians. They're at a higher level of the Ariana and the Na. They reached the Na.
Wow.
They're a higher, the Phrygians and all that. They're much higher up in power. They're nearing the level of the Orsinis. So you're talking way up in the tier. So not in the third tier like the 13 families that Fritz Springmeier talked about, the Lees and that. That's the third tier. Then you go in the second tier. That's the Rothschilds and the Peysseurs. Well, then you go to the first tier, and these are the tiers on Earth. That's the Orsinis and the Black nobility families, the House of Orange, etc. They're at the very lowest part of the first tier. The Muslim groups are at that level, and the Zionists are in the third tier. So you're getting a high-level tier to fight a low-level tier and destroy each other. They either come together and set their differences aside, or they can destroy themselves. So yeah, right now, we need to send the Patriot missiles to Israel so they can, if they decide they want to do that, choice is absolute. You want to fight this out? Go ahead. And you'll fight each other until there's nothing left between the two of you at all. And we'll just clean up and mop up and build a Gaza Strip into something beautiful. And the Palestinians can come back in there from underground and where else they've gone in the world, and it'll be wonderful. That's it. It'll be a beautiful place, and we'll redo Israel, and we'll redo Iran. After you all done blowing each other up. And the same thing goes with what's going on in Ukraine where they first landed. And if you look at a lot of people that are the Zionists, that are the government of Israel, they come from Ukraine. they're quote Jewish Zionists, but that's not Jewish, okay? The Hebrew people were not the Zionists. They infiltrated the Hebrew and took over the Hebrew people and infiltrated and went to the top like they always do. And so it's like the song, it's an inside job like it always is.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. Well, that's all coming to an end. Of all this hidden agenda underneath, it's going to change. And
I've been having one outstanding podcast after another, man, and this one takes the cake.
Yeah, I recommend you watch my Rumble. I put Palantir Part 1 and 2 on Rumble. I'm finishing up the first of the U.S. domes, Alaska. I jumped going in alphabetical order because Alaska's too important because it's the majority of the Golden Dome system, along with Schwatka Lake and Nahanni Valley and then Greenland. So I'm finishing that up. I put about 100 and some hours into it. I'm almost done. And then we'll get the final edit done, and then I'll record it and edit it and put it up on the Rumble and the surface area of Decode.org, because the really world-shatteringly important things I don't keep behind a paywall. because the world needs to know the truth, because people were freaking out. I did the Iran-Israel situation, the black rock, the blue ice, what's under Fargo for real. Not what the media is telling you, where did the uranium go? You can't find it. You won't find it. It's not uranium anymore.
Wow.
Like, you look for gold. How about look for gold? You'll find lots of gold.
Well, Gene, I appreciate you coming on. Man, this takes the cake. I'm never, you don't fail to. I mean, I'm constantly just mumbling to myself when I leave these podcasts because they're just so outstanding. I mean, I have to go back and listen to this a couple times. I'm going to listen to it tonight. And what an amazing podcast. Gene, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your time. Where do people find you?
Yeah, so my main place is my website is gedecode.org, which is, let me pull up one more thing and get my other one here. Hold on.
Decode.org.
Let me pull up my Rumble as the other one here. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this is my website. There's a surface area, and that's for free. And you can view the catalog of the surface area, or you can go into the, for $7 a month or $77 a year, it's less than a quarter a day. You can go into the main area, the deep dives. And that's, when you see the number in the bottom right corner, these are series. There's 33 there. There's 10 there. So this is the Iran-Israel. Like I said, I put that in the surface area. It's the special report of the situation in Iran and Israel. We have a bi-weekly thing called News Talk. We do some of those, a few of the very important ones I put out on the surface area and in the Rumble, but most of them are here. I do have a bi-weekly on the opposing time frames called T and Scone's Nightcap with Paul Brokers in England, in the UK. And so that is free. And you can also find, this is gedecode.org. You can also find my Rumble.
Put that there in the okay.
So
Real Gene Decode, gotcha.
Yeah, my Rumble is Real Gene Decode. And you can see Iran, Israel, and the tea and scones, and your interviews will come up if your guy doesn't scrape them down. We got the last, no, do we have it?
Yeah, I see it right there. I see it right there in Nino's corner. Interview Gene Decode.
It looks like it's been scraped.
No, it's right there. I see it.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah.